All right, Anthony. Thank you, bro, for taking the time and to take a bit to share a bit about yourself.
No, it's a pleasure.
How old are you, man?
57.
All right. Where did you grow up?
I grew up, I was born in Collingwood, but then when I was young, I was taken away from my family and I was made a ward of a state. And I grew up in Geelong in an orphanage, a Catholic boys' home called St. Augustine's Orphanage. I was probably put in there, I was about five and a half. It was in
Okay.
Geelong, yeah.
Yeah. So that's when you were taken from your parents.
Yeah, was born in, I come from a big family and then we moved over to the western suburbs.
Mm.
And the Vietnam War was going on. The family got a bit mixed up and my mother couldn't cope a lot. And so the sorry, man.
No, you're right.
The government got involved and took the three youngest us away and took us to a place called a Lambie, where they took children that were from homes which they considered dysfunctional.
So three of you, what, from the same family?
Yes, from the same family. Yeah.
So you got brothers, sisters?
All up, there's 14 of us, but I know 10 of them, 11 of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 So yeah, I know, but I was living with 10.
Yeah.
But all up, there's 14. There's some that I haven't met because
Yeah.
yeah.
And so what happened with the orphanage? What?
We were made a ward of the state. You brought before a court and they make you a ward of the state. So you basically become a government's property.
Right.
And yeah. And then they assess you where they're going to put you. And they assessed us to a boys' home. It's a Catholic boys' home in Geelong.
At 5 years old?
I was about 5.5, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how old were the others? Were like...
Peter's 18 months older than me.
Yeah.
And Brian's 18 months younger than me.
Okay.
So even younger, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the cause of that was? Why?
I think at the time my father, for some reason, left my mother. My mum remarried another guy, and he was trying to look after us. But I think we were a big family and that, and then the Vietnam War going on. And well, to cut a long story short, there was other things going on, and my dad leaving, and my mum had a nervous breakdown, and because she was trying to support all of us in the end.
After her partner had left?
Yeah, well, my mum remarried during that, but I think being a big family, there was a lot going on. My other brothers and that used to drink and that a lot and carry on, and we lived in a big house, but they weren't like contributing, helping mum, I think, towards food and stuff like that. So she was doing it all on her own. They were selfish, very selfish. And I think it just got to her in the end, and she ended up spending 6 months in hospital. They had to take parts of her body out because she was so, the stomach, the nervous breakdown. So then my mother asked my stepfather, he was willing to look after us. They came and took us away, but then he came to court and he said, I'll look after him because he was working for the taxation department and he was willing to look after the three youngest, and the courts granted it. But then my other brothers came around and all they must have been jealous and beat the crap out of him, punched the crap out of him. So then they came back, the police and the ward of the state, and they had no other option but to put us in an orphanage. So I don't blame my mother. The older brothers and that wouldn't take responsibility at the time, and there was a lot of violence going on there. They beat him up, and he even had a nanny coming around willing to look after the three youngest, but they must have been jealous, of course. I don't know what was in their heads. So then they had no other option, so they put us in the orphanage, yeah.
And so this orphanage, you were with your brothers and sisters?
No, they were it was all boys. Yeah. There's probably about 250 of us. Yeah. It's pretty big. They had all different dormitories, Loyal, Malloy, O'Shea. They were all named, and in those dormitories there was at least 60 of us, 50, 60 of us with cubicles. But it was that's when the horror movie started in my life. Yeah, a lot of abuse. A lot of sexual abuse. Yeah. Locked in dark rooms. They used to lock me in the tower. I can sit here and talk. Yeah.
What's the tower like?
Oh, they had a big clock tower. It was just like punishment. Everything. Yeah, well, they picked on Pacific kids for some reason. You had to see it to believe. It was pretty sick. They were very brutal.
So who run the place? Was it women and men, or
Um,
was it
it
a
was
mix?
run by it's a Catholic organisation.
Yeah.
Catholic priests.
Okay.
Comes under Catholic organisation. Christian Brothers
Mhm.
ran it. Yeah, I could tell you some horror stories. If you really want to know, but they're pretty sick.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
whatever you're willing to share, man.
Well, they used to lock me in my they used to just short stories, come down to my room at night, do sexual things to me on the weekends. Sometimes they used to take me to these, all the other kids would be away on the weekends, and they'd take me, they had Pacific ones, I never got weekend leave a lot. So they'd take me to these, there was even places they took me when all the kids were gone at Christmas to these houses out in the bush, and they'd have someone running it where they'd make me and other kids kiss one another, and we just thought it was love. We were kids. And then they'd lock the door and they'd let us go out and play, but they'd come and lock the doors at night, but they'd have someone. This is just a bit of the story. I can't mention any names because for reasons, but you can trust me on this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I was locked in a tower in the dark at Christmas, no window, no light. They'd come in, kick me, beat me. I'm not lying. Sexually abused me, touched me up. I was penetrated at times. I don't like to talk about that. And then there was other times they played. It was good. They had horse riding. We had motorbikes. There was sort of this like niceness between it. But for 8.5 years, at least 3 or 4 times a week, I was abused. I was severely beaten by a certain brother. Used to throw me around the room like a rag doll. Take me to his office. You'd find something and leave it on your desk. They'd accuse you as a thief, that you're a robber, and they'd wreck all your stuff. Everything that was, it was pretty sick. This went on for years and years and years. I could go right into details, you'd vomit. But being locked in the dark room was the worst. The government's got it all on file. So yeah, and eventually after 8, when I got out, I ran away from the place 13 times just to try and get away. The last time that I got away, number 13 is lucky for me, because I had a sister and she kept writing them letters. I want my brother out. I see my brother. I want my brother.
Yeah.
And she lived in Moonee Ponds, and eventually they gave me a weekend leave. And this is a God sent that weekend. Now you go back on the train. You have to go back to Flinders Street. We used to call it Spencer Street.
Yeah.
It's called Southern Cross now.
Yeah.
Back on the old Red Rattler, and then you have to meet them at Geelong, and they pick you up, take you back to the orphanage. But that weekend I met a girl, and she was an English girl, and I told her about the home in it, and she said, "You're not going back. You're coming to live with my parents." And they were Salvation Army people, actually.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, the old school Salvation Army.
Yeah.
But anyway, cut a long story short, what really broke my heart was that day was my brother had to go back, and I just keep seeing his face. I said, "I can't go back, mate." And he's on that train, and I'm bawling my eyes out. And he was bawling his eyes out. I said, "I can't go back." So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have escaped. And they were looking for me for well over 6 months, and I kept hidden. And I was determined, and I hanged around. There was an English, I knew, the English family, and they were great to me. They treated me like a brother, and I went out with Debbie for nearly 5 years. So I stayed there, and then in the end, after all of that, I got off my ward of estate. I ended up meeting a counsellor, and I got off my ward of estate, but I was on my own.
What's the process of that to get off Warden Estate?
But what they didn't actually consider me missing for 6 months. I could have been murdered or anything in between.
Yeah, right.
You had to meet up with some workers, and my mum arranged it because I was too frightened. I said, "I'm not going to meet up with any government people. They'll just take me back there." But they promised that they wanted to see me as and there was I was lucky because they were nice ladies. So I was a lady, and they had to sign papers to say that I'm no longer involved with the church, the boys' home anymore.
Yeah.
So I had to sign papers, and then that was it. But there was no like help after it. I never had anything. I had to learn to survive on my own.
Yeah. So, was it your sister that stopped you from going back, or was it the?
No, I was lucky that weekend that she kept nagging them,
Yeah.
writing them letters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. And your partner that you met.
Yeah, she was a different girl I met on that weekend. I was out in the city,
Yeah.
and I met her. Her name was Debbie.
Meant to be.
Yep. And that was it.
Yeah, saved you.
But I still, I got into drugs and that a lot. I got into a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Look, don't get me wrong, people. You're listening to this. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. I'm still a bit crazy up here because of memories and stuff. But I am a Christian. I try and be a Christian.
Yeah.
But because what happened as a child, the religious experiences from that home and God, sometimes I still get confused.
Mm.
That things.
It's so painful, man, to hear because, I myself am a Christian and like everything I do, I want to lift people up and help people and whatnot. And for that so-called Christian organisation to be doing what they're doing, it gives Christians a bad name. That's why people turn away and go down the wrong road, man, and it hurts. It hurts to hear that. It really does.
I think you're right there. It does. Because in my early days, I met Christians and that, and if it wasn't for one guy, his name was Mark Whitby, he took me in. I was a mixed up kid, and he lived in Caulfield. He was a part of a church called Richmond Temple. And when these other Christians didn't want me, I was too much of a hard case. So he'd take all the hard cases. He lived in Caulfield and took me in. And I remember going there, and they had dysfunctional other people living in there, like Lindsay was a heroin addict, Dennis is an alcoholic. There was one who was a punk rocker, suicide and tripping, and there was me and that. And I remember first getting there, and it looks like to stand here like this, Everything to me was a threat, especially men. Like authority was a threat. I just did not know.
Yeah.
But I remember one day, the special who this guy was when I went there and I was standing there and I remember I go, oh, you two end up hating me, you two end up kicking me out, and he goes, no, we just love you here. And I went, crack. I hit this guy right in the face. I said, what are you?
Yeah.
That P word.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid.
Yeah.
But then this guy, when he just turned away, and he says, no, we'll just love you here. Then after that, I saw a real Christian.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Stuck by us. We were the hard cases. I had my girls at the bungalow at the back, my music gear, but he just loved us. He just loved us.
Yeah.
Loved us through it. So and then I ended up giving my heart to God back then.
Yeah.
But I still struggled with the world. I was still exploring the world.
Of course.
Very much so.
And so that was not long after leaving the boys' home?
Yeah, it would have been maybe a year. Year and a half, couple of years. Yeah, when I was about 14, 15, I met Mark, Yeah,
wow.
And, because I was going out, I went out with a Christian girl for a while.
Yeah.
That's another story.
That wasn't the first partner?
No, this was after Debbie. Then I met Helena.
Yeah.
And I was in the cult, actually. I started getting to devil worshipping.
Oh, yeah.
And my Ouija boards.
Really?
Yeah, I got into all of that, black masses, Ouija boards, orgies with women.
And
it's mixed.
What age was this?
It was probably 15, something like that, 14, 15.
Young, yeah.
I was exploring it.
Yeah.
And then I met Helena, and she was a Christian too. That's how I got to meet Mark and all that. And her mum was a rat bag though. But we fell in love and stuff like that, and that's when after that, and I got to meet Mark, and I'm glad I did because I was into some creepy, my Ouija boards and stuff like that. I was into because I was angry at God. I thought, if you're God, what happened to us in the home?
Yeah.
But you can go stuff yourself, God.
Yeah.
So I explored the other side. And sometimes my mind still wanders that way, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's just something that God is dealing with, that I was mixed up in. But I'm not into I'm not into that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I can tell.
My brain's been scarred by it though. So
of course.
a lot of healing.
How do you go with that, like healing and forgiving and everything like that? Have you found a happy place with all of that, or you still got some resentment?
Well, with what I find the most Christianity and all is the friend. I liked I like friendship with people, but I like real friendship with God. You know what I mean? I'm not a religious person. I believe God's free. Even though, like we have meetings and stuff. I like to sort of just watching people being happy, which makes me happy, really inside. I do get angry with humans a lot. I argue with God a lot. The stupid, I carry on.
I think we all do that.
Yeah, I carry on a bit too much about it.
Yeah.
But generally, deep down in my heart, I believe I've got a lot of compassion.
Yeah.
But I've also got a lot of anger because I want him to hurry up, and I just see the world, what we're doing, and it's very painful.
Yeah.
And it annoys
Yeah.
It annoys me.
Yeah.
Very much.
I know. I can resonate with that. Trying to find that happy balance with the world that we're living in, the scars that we endure, everything that happens to us. It's a lot of, traumas, trials, difficult times.
It's like you've been wound up with it, and then you've got to unwind it.
Yeah.
You
can wind yourself up, but at the same time you've got to wind yourself down.
You've got to wind it back and go, well, I've got to...
Yeah, it's difficult, man, I know, 100%.
You know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the trauma that you've been through, man. I can understand how hard it can be, man.
I'd be totally honest right now. I would not. The only thing that I liked about my child, there was times where I couldn't figure even before I met God. When I was in that orphanage, I used to be in this dark room they used to put me in, this darkest room. You couldn't see in front of your face hardly. In the end, I got used to there wasn't the dark around me. It was the stuff they used to come in and do, the darkness stuff. It's different. There's dark, but the things they used to do to me in the dark.
Yeah.
Their darkness acts. But there were times in the end where I got to a stage where I'd sit there and I'd be waiting for it, waiting for them to come in, and they'd play this sound and music sometimes. They had this speaker in this, I'm not kidding, this speaker, this loud music. I think it was just to torment me. I am not lying. But sometimes I'd be sitting there and it'd be at night, and this is I am not lying. There's no word of lie. I used to hear this voice, and I can't figure it. And he used to go, Anthony, trust me, I love you. This voice during this horror. And then, a month or so later, a couple months later, and they do it again, and the next, I'd hear this voice, Anthony, trust me, I'm with you. It'd be like, what the? Now I know what it was. It was God, even though I was a boy, because his voice was like, gave me courage. Because I'd wait for him to come in, and then I wouldn't get scared of the actual dark in the room on my own. It was like God shielded it with this voice. But it was only when, they came in the end, it was still like a horror movie, what they do to me in that dark. They created dark formats, which is very interesting, because it's like the night. God creates the night. We roll around the sun. The night's not, we call it, it's dark now, it's time to go home. But it's not darkness. Darkness is created by a format of stupidity of humans and us and what we do to one another. Yeah. In the night. Yeah. So they call it darkness. Yeah. And I think something at that age God showed me, so it gave me strength to get through it. I just let them do what they do to me. In the end, there was times I just let them do with my body, because I couldn't fight it. I could not fight it. And and something was with me. And even now in my life, I'm stupid. I do silly things to myself.
Mm.
But I know there is something. I know there is God.
Mm.
The one. Not number one, the one, the Father. We call him God, but what about Father? A Father, I know.
Yeah, Father.
Because I still go through things, and no matter what, he tells me to get up.
Mm.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Get up, and I keep going, And even though it's painful, and even though I hate myself, but I keep going. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's all about how you navigate through the suffering. If you can navigate yourself through that, there's so many pros and cons with it, but
See, I'm still learning to. I think sometimes ourselves are our worst enemies.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I still don't believe in this, that we're not worth it. When preachers get up and say, Jesus did not say that. We are worth it. That's why he died on the cross. When they say, I don't really like that. We're not really worthy. Yes, we are worthy.
Yeah.
Well, God wouldn't have sent Jesus. He wanted to make us worthy. We've got to get that in perspective.
Yeah.
We're not worthy in the sense of before that, but when we come to know that we are worthy,
Yeah. 100%.
you know, and he had a plan.
Yeah.
So, but I still think
Yeah.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah,
You know?
you struggle with that.
Condemnation comes in and
Completely understand, yeah.
anyway. So,
No, that's perfect.
but yeah, go on. But I want to say one thing. This place that I was in, this orphanage, there were deaths.
Really?
Yep, there were deaths. They did bash kids to death.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was it's in the archives. Catholic Church knows it. Sometimes they'd bring a kid in that didn't have any connection to the outside world. There were some kids that were maybe they got away from from childbirth. So and then you'd see that kid and you'd hear screams and that at night and stuff like that and then you see an ambulance at the front, like you see because the joint was big, you just see, and and then you say to the brothers, "Where's that guy? Where's that?" We'd say to one another, "Remember that young guy that's over the stand disappeared." Kids disappeared from that place, and we truly believe that they were bashed to death because they used to beat. They had their own private quarters and that, and they'd take you to it. They even had a few tunnels and that on the orphanage where they could go from that end to that end that we found. So it was pretty horrible place. I'm just letting you know as a testimony for those poor buggers that didn't make it. But this is the reality of life. For Forgotten Australians, happened to a lot of Indigenous people and kids that were orphaned out or come from broken homes that were taken away from the things. They call them Forgotten Australians. So that's no lie. And another thing I'd like to mention, they did experiment with us with drugs. They used to take, some of them used to give pills and they had their own hospital thing. Used to give me an injection once a month. I don't know what it was. Got to come and get your medicine now. Oh yeah, and it's all covered up. Some they gave pills to, which caused problems in people's lives for no older too, yeah. So that's just another thing. That's no lie.
What an evil place, man.
But, I'm here now, and I'm with a friend here.
Bro, you're doing so good for yourself, man.
But now...
Just a snippet of what you just shared to the person you are, I've known you probably for a couple of years now. And,
but I was mad.
And
in the 80s, when I got out of there, stuff I did, yeah.
I can see the genuine heart you have. Of course, it's going to cause issues throughout your life and everything like that. But, bro, that's a lot to share.
Mate, that's only.
That's scary.
Yeah. That's only a pinch. Yeah. Then all the drugs and things I was involved with, gangs and stuff. And all that other stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so when you met your partner leaving the orphanage, how long were you together?
I was with Debbie 4 years, 9 months.
Yeah.
And then I got into other ones but I was very insecure when I was a kid. I hated what men did to me. I always had to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I just couldn't be around men. A man would look at me and I'd freak. Like even in the public, I thought, what do they want? What are they looking at? Because
Mm.
And sometimes I'd say, what the fuck are you looking at? I wouldn't mean it. It's just a reaction. Because my brain never shut the fuck. My brain, my brain never shut up. Everywhere I looked, everything was a threat. I was scared. In the places I had to live in, oh my gosh, in the 80s and that, it was just absolutely horrendous.
So did you, leaving the boys' home, was it not long after that you started dabbling with drugs and everything?
Yeah, I started using amphetamines, real amphetamines, not ice, in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then by the time I was 33, I was using like nearly 2 ounces of the strongest amphetamine a fortnight.
Where?
In my arm.
Where?
But I was like a doctor, clean. I wouldn't do it I'd go home. And I was an absolute pig. And I was snorting cocaine at times.
Yeah.
I think the longest I stayed awake was 18, 19 days and nights.
What?
One time.
Oh, that's unheard of, man.
18
what?
nights. Yep. That is no crap.
That's not healthy.
But I truly believe in those earlier days, even though I still went in the world, when I met this Christian guy, I got baptised it's funny how God worked. A place at Richmond Temple. And Mark one night he said, God wants to baptise you in the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
And I was only like 16 and I got the gift.
Yeah.
And even though I went through that journey in life, still doing all that stuff, spoiling me, trying to get my bad habits, I believe if the Holy Spirit wasn't inside me, I would have been dead.
Yeah.
Would have been.
Yeah.
I would have died. And and I still speak in tongues. I got the gift of it.
Yeah.
And I truly believe God saw that, what I was going to be doing, but he needs my strength from him, because if I didn't have that, because my mind, but he also showed me some beautiful things.
Amen, brother.
Beautiful things, mate.
That's beautiful. So you knew he was always there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've had the same feeling when I was a kid. I was in a bad place. Not as bad as yours, but...
it's all bad though, mate. Doesn't matter, it's all crap.
It's all bad, and you cry out to him, and you don't know him, but you're crying out, and then later down the road, when you get older, you're like, you were there.
And now he's here. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Wow. And do you have children?
Yeah, I have children. I have, one is in the army, Joshua. He's 25. Yeah, he's 25 next year. Well, this year, yeah. It's hard to keep up on him.
Yeah.
And I've got one in Brisbane. She's 27.
Yeah.
Emily, yeah. I did have a daughter who died, but, that's another story. Very young. That was to the girl Helena. That other Christian girl, yeah.
Yeah.
But she was very young. That was a long time ago. But, yeah.
So just the one child with Helena?
Harris, yeah, her name was, yeah.
And you lost her?
Yeah, I lost her, yeah.
Do you want to share about that? Or?
Oh, she was born with a bit of a bad ticker.
Yeah.
And I won't go into details, and they shouldn't have been operating on her when they did operate on her, because she had a flu. You don't operate on a child with a flu. And in the 80s.
How old was she?
She was just over 12 months.
Yeah. And
they opened her up, and when she was on the operating table, she died. Her heart stopped. So she's with the Lord.
Devastating.
But I saw her a couple of week before that, because I was travelling around. I was like a hillbilly. She was fine, and people lied and said, I don't know how they managed to get away with it, because they needed my permission to do that. And some people lied and stuff. And yeah, I won't go into that, who that was. Yeah, but I was very infuriated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And your other two, which partners are they? Oh,
they're grown up. They do their own thing, mate. Josh is in the army. I haven't heard of him for 12 months.
Oh, as in, like, who was the woman you had the children with?
Oh, no, that's Pauline. That's different.
Oh, really?
They were other girls, yeah, that's Pauline, Emily, yeah. Another woman, and I've had a few women in my time.
Yeah.
I married a Christian woman, and she had Joshua. And Joshua was in the army.
Yeah.
And the other girl was the one I was telling you about earlier, about the two sisters.
Yeah.
Two I had, and then she got pregnant and had Emily, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's complicated, that's private, I won't go into that too
Yeah.
much. That's just a part of the life's journey, Stu. If that's all right, yeah.
Yeah. And you still speak to your kids?
Oh, no, not really. That's the shame about it.
They're busy with life.
Yeah, busy with life. I know where they are. They know where I am.
They're doing well.
Sort of a curse of my family, a bit like that. We all love one another, but we know where we all are, but we don't really sort of... Yeah, it's...
I've got the same thing, man. It's funny that, yeah.
I don't know, in the way of the world, I think, now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just put my faith... I just think, well, deep in my heart, I love them, no matter what happens, what goes on, so that's the end of the story. What can I do?
Yeah.
I'm too old for running around.
Stressing out.
Because when I was younger, I wanted to do stuff.
Yeah.
With the, and have relationships with these people, but I couldn't. Because I was involved with stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, so, what, did they judge you on that, or they...
Oh, there was a lot. There was... No, not really. There was, but no, I don't think...
They still loved you?
Some of the relationships, maybe there was a bit with the women and that. That's about it, but I actually got away. I had to get away because things got so confusing with me.
Yeah.
With a couple of them, I had to not... if I would have married, it just would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, and so I had to sort of walk away.
Yeah.
Because I was involved in other things at the time, and it just would have been more hurt for everyone.
Yeah. So you didn't spend... So with the boys' home, is there schooling and education?
Yeah, there was schooling in there, but it was more like they used to have... it was more like, you ever seen the movie Pink Floyd The Wall?
I think I have.
Well, the guys in there and they're walking around with their sticks.
Yeah.
And well, the schooling was quite brutal. The brothers would have a schooling in there, and oh man, you just wouldn't believe what they used to do. It was just like it was more like brutal punishment. Where you'd laugh or say a word out of line, and that, you know, there were some of the brothers. This is no word of a lie. Some of the brothers would get you up the front and stick their hands down your pants, get your jocks, walk you around and wedgie you. They used to call it a wedgie. In front of the other kids. With their hands, they'd grab your underpants for punishment in front of the kids.
The actual teacher?
Yeah, the brothers.
Yeah, right.
As like, because you know, as kids, you're in the classrooms and you're distracted, you just laugh or something like that. They'd just do stuff like that and walk you around.
Put you on show.
I'll tell you something that was really sick.
Yeah.
I really want to hear a brutal story. When the youngest dormitory I was in, there was a woman, because there was women in there too, some that run some of the dormitories. There was a woman called Miss Driver. Now I remember for capital punishment one day, me and when we just arrived at the home, me, Peter and Brian, they had a piggery because they had land in there. All that down in Geelong is where that new highway in is. They owned all that land, so it goes to
huge
boys'
property.
home.
Yeah.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
And Warren Ponds.
Okay.
Now Warren Ponds, that was all owned by the orphanage.
Yeah.
And we went down in the pig style and started playing with the pigs, and we went back to the home. We were just kids, and we ran down there on the farm, you know.
Yeah.
And we got back, and Miss Old Mother Driver, she got us in the shower, lined us up. They're like men's shower, you know, just the big old things. Lined us up in there, and she just had this whip. And she put the water on cold, and as an example, she got all the other boys to come in and watch, and she would whip us on our private parts. I am not lying. There's no lie. As an example, and we're only kids. And I'm not lying because it's in the archives of the government thing that she did. She was brutal. And whip us on our penises and things like that. So that was the first big punishment. That's when it started. I was only there about a week. That's when it all started after that.
Well, yeah, and that was your introduction.
That was my introduction, yeah.
That's disgusting.
And that is no lie. And I won't go into other stuff. There was many other stuff.
I can imagine.
That over those 8 years. Trust me, people, it was pretty sick shit. and I'm still getting over it now. So if anyone is out there, but keep going. Don't give up. Just keep going.
Yeah.
It's hard. You hate yourself. You still do silly things to yourself. You still think silly things because they put some shit in our head. They put some shit in our minds. And they reckon it's known not by science, it's known by fact. From a certain age of like 2 years of age to your 13 years of age are the most important things, what is stamped into your brain. We have a thing here, it's like a reptile. It's got levels. It's got memory levels in evolution. And what is inputted into that from that time to that time stays there, they reckon, forever.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah, 100%. I know that.
You know that brain, we've got these levels.
Yeah. They're the most crucial times in your life, man.
So it'll never go away. You just got to learn. And it'll go away in the sense of you got to, like Jesus said, let me be your yoke. And that's the only way you can do it. Say, take it.
Yeah.
But it'll always be there.
Yeah.
You just got, every day you got to try and renew it.
Yeah.
Because we were made with that brain, those memories. They're supposed to be for like beautiful memories as a child.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they weren't. For me and thousands of others.
So, what was my question? So it would have been difficult not only just to receive all that punishment, but it would be even worse to hear it, to constantly be living that.
It was stupid.
So
it was
not only are you constantly on the receiving end, but you're obviously seeing your friends and everything like that go through it, and that must be just as painful.
Oh yeah. See, the way they did it in the home, they'd keep some of us apart too. And some would be good to you. It was a game they played and they selected certain ones. Oh, it's the way they did it was very evil. I don't even want to call it evil, dark. Very negative. And then they'd have, that one there would be good to you, then that one wouldn't, that one, it's the way they did it. And they'd keep, like the brothers, they'd try and keep you separated. But you knew what was going on. I had like close 4 friends in that home, 4 or 5 friends. We were like, we had to. But even though we went for that, we were smart. Because why they were doing shit to us, we figured out how they were moving around and when their next move and how they were going to do it. We didn't have a choice to let them do it because they could grab you and throw you in a room. Like you got a bloke that's 6 foot something, in a big black robe, and you're only like, you didn't have their strength. They knew they had that strength because you were a child. But we got some payback. Don't worry about that because I split one of the brothers' heads open with a cricket bat when he tried to strangle me. And I reckon he would have killed me that day if he didn't. And someone passed me a cricket bat. As he was on top of me, there was a curtain and I went crash. But I copped it for that. I spent a week in... they put me in the tower. Yeah, but we had to. We had times of freedom where they had these big trees and me, Brett Keefe and... Mark and all that, Fewest and Steve-O and all that, me close friends and Miller, and Chopper, we said nicknames for one another, Chopper Chump and all that, Just had these big trees, and these were big pine trees. These were, like, the trunks on them were but they were like 80 foot tall.
Yeah.
And they were lined up along that side of the orphanage. They're all gone now. They pulled all them down, there's all houses there. And we used to climb right up to the top. And we used to sit up there for hours and just watch, because all the giants, a lot of paddocks and that then. It was like freedom. And the trunks on them, you could climb them. And we carried up wires and stuff, and we built like this thing up the top of it so we could sit right on the top of it and just sit there, for peace and quiet every now and then. That's what we would do to get away from the brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the only peace you could find.
Well, yeah, because you always knew, and when the weekends come, occasionally, not many times, nothing, I'd say over all those years, maybe 4 or 5 times nothing happened. But you always knew when Mondays was back on, you were even in it for worse. When all the kids came back to the, like the Sunday night to the dormitory or back in the casual punishment for worse. There were a couple of brothers in there that treated me all right, but then I was told that some of the thing that they did bad things to other people, so I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, right. So, with your time in the boys' home, did you see people escape? Were people...
Oh, yeah, I had a friend, actually. His name was, we used to call him Silvertooth, because his name was Stephen Silverson.
Okay.
And he was a good friend of ours, and he had a silver tooth, kind of like you, right?
Yeah.
And they were hurting him that much and doing stuff to him that brutal. He jumped 2 stories from the tower, got out of this little thing, I don't know how he did it, jumped, because it was all granite, bang, broke both of his legs and was trying to crawl out of the place they got him.
Oh, God.
Just to get escape from there. They bring him back 6 weeks later. He was in plaster and he was in a wheelchair. And he goes, they used to call me Nico. My nickname is Nico. Nico, I'm not staying. We used to have staircases. He goes, watch this. He got up on top of the staircase and he rolled himself down the stairs and broke more of his bones just to get out of the joint.
Wow.
Never saw him after that.
Oh,
He said, I'm not staying here. The abuse was, yeah. I've got things of Kevin Rudden and they give an apology and all that stuff. They just done another apology. And next week they're doing another one. They did another one this year.
That's not good.
For Forgotten Australians and stuff.
No.
We know when they say we're sorry, I don't like that. We don't say you're sorry. Just say you're wrong. You know, when people say, I'm sorry, when people bump into me and say they're sorry, you know what I mean, on the street. It's got nothing to do with sorry. Admit that you were wrong. That's simple as that. There's right, there's wrong, and that's it. And I still do wrong too, but you know what I mean? That, and, but I'm getting over it all. It's taken a long time. I've got this nice place here. The people around here must think I'm a bit of a loony sometimes because they're all older and I'm younger. And I'm still dealing with shit. Yeah, that's
You're in a good spot, man.
And I hide sometimes.
Good place, good spot. You're surrounded by good people.
Good people, and my good friend E helped me out today.
Yeah.
They brought me a nice gift that I needed because something happened to me during the week and one of my machines broke down. And he brought me a new one. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
No, my pleasure.
Absolute blessing.
So,
but
what makes you happy, Anthony?
The only thing, I find that hard because I'm still struggling. I suppose the only thing that really makes me happy, I love animals and nature, but I like to be living up in the mountains in a log cabin. That'd make me happy. Away from humans with animals and But that's a dream, I suppose.
Well,
I suppose what makes
anything's possible, bro.
You know what I mean?
Anything's possible.
I suppose what makes me happy the most. Now, this takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
God loves me.
He does, bro. He does. He loves all of us.
That's hard to say because I spit in his face.
Yeah.
The Father, I should say, because you can say God, who's God. Father.
Yeah.
That's what makes me happy and that's what keeps me going. I still have a lot of sorrow, but that's what I hang on to. And that's the only thing I can say because in the world, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be heartache and pain. We're built with different... We're all different, but we're the same, but we're all different. But we all have emotions, we have feelings, we all have that. Some of us are built to put up with more stuff, I don't know. But so I just got to look at the answer that just happy that he loves me, that I can't wait to when it's all over. To go, whatever. I want my own planet, Lord, just me forever. Sit there with animals, live forever, yeah. Looking at you up there. Yeah. That'll do me.
Yeah.
Never aging.
Yeah.
Never,
I think a lot of us Christians are waiting for that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I suppose that's what makes me happy, but...
Well, you were telling me earlier, like a dog or...
Oh, yeah, dogs, yeah.
A companion.
Yeah, dogs make me happy, man.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting because I'm still dealing with a few things and I'm sorting out things here.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that when I do get a dog, I've got time for the dog.
Yeah. Yeah. So your health situation, what's that at the moment?
I got gallstone bladders. I've got stents in me. Yeah, I'm dealing with thing. I did all my leg, fell off my bike and did all my starting to heal, did all my ligaments. So I've got a few things I've got to deal with.
Yeah.
I've got to get a few things done on my body and get gallbladder taken out and other things. Stint, yeah, that's got to come out this month. I've got an appointment this month to come out.
Yeah.
And they've got to look down here with scopes and hopefully by next year they'll pull this because the gallstones keep coming back. So they were supposed to take it out 2 years ago. They've been mucking around. So yeah.
Yeah, a few medical things.
Medical things, yep.
Yeah. No, you'll get through it, man. Have you ever lived on the streets? Ever been homeless?
32 years I lived on the streets, on and off.
Wow.
I reckon, yeah, I'd say 32 years I lived on the streets. The only time I did, I'm 57 now, the other times when I was a bit married, or shared, or had my own unit. The rest of that time was either in, on the streets, well, in a tent, or I lived in rooms for a couple of weeks, especially during the 80s. I was running around and I was living I've lived in 93 suburbs of Melbourne.
Wow.
Because I was very frightened, especially when I was young. I would go somewhere and I'd see a man look at me and I'd be living somewhere, so I'd move. My brain was just, I'd move. I'd just get frightened and I'd move. It was like I had this curse over me, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would be like your emotions and your awareness would be to the highest.
Oh, they were stimulated.
So you'd really pick up.
Straight, sober, spreading
maybe
right,
sometimes you're on the right track. You know.
Yep.
You just were picking up on that vibe and that feeling that you had.
Yeah. And
just, you got to go with your gut feeling.
Yeah, I'd just go. So I can't stay here.
Yeah.
Even like I'd lived in places where on Grey Street in St Kilda, and I'd get rooms there, and then I'd walk out, and they'd be dragging, someone at OD on drugs. They'd be dragging down the hallway. Then I'd close my door. Then I'd go to use the toilet. They'd just put the dead body in there. They'd just put the body in there. I had to see that at that age.
Yeah, for Grey Street.
Grey Street, St Kilda, Fitzroy Street. Yeah.
People that don't know about Grey Street.
No.
That's
Oslo house I lived in, that one that they did up, the block did up. That was a boarding house. That was a rooming house.
I
lived in that number 123 at the back in the room.
Yeah.
$65 a week.
There you go.
Swine, mate. Drugs, prostitution, bikers, biker, you name it. It was there. It was in and out of there. And I'd just run up to my room. I'd lock the door. I still do it sometimes now. I get frightened at night. I've got to leave a light on, or I've got to put something at the door.
Yeah, so it sounds like almost a bit of like a PTSD.
Yeah, I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, 100%.
But it can be dangerous because if someone really attacks you, when you're in a state of weak, you can really lose it and really hurt someone.
Gotcha.
So you've got to sort of, you don't want to, but if someone's threatening your life, because I've been in trouble with the law at times where men tried to do stuff to me and I didn't know how I did it, but I beat them. And I nearly killed him. When I was only young, it was more, they'd touch me, or just all these flashbacks would come back and I'd just turn into a wild animal.
Yeah.
And I know I could still got that in me, but that's why I'm here. I don't do that. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something that's always there that you got to deal with.
So do you think sort of occupying yourself, if you had a companion, if you had a dog with you, or if, you went on a holiday or just went away, or what?
Well, I was going to do that before this started happening, all the medical stuff, so I don't know what the timing is.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for something to happen next year where I'm going to maybe a blessing or something, but I think a dog would be really good. I would like a partner, but I think I would like a partner that's got their own place, that's mature, they got their own possessions, that they just come and stay here for a night. I go, I don't
have to rely on.
I don't want to be
relying on each other.
Yeah, and I don't want interference or me interfering with their if they got family. I want someone just to be chill. Look, come over for a night. I'm feeling like I'm all right tonight. Let's watch a DVD or have a meal.
Yeah.
Maybe go out for coffee. Stay with me one night, and then I'd stay with you. Come over to your place maybe one night for quite a while. I like someone mature and just have an understanding, and someone that I don't really have to go through every single detail of what happened to me when I was a child.
Yeah.
That would just have the common sense to know.
Yeah.
What's happened.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Just, you know what I mean, bro?
I know. Yeah.
The doggies are a bit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
They just love.
They do.
But, it's another story. It's up to whatever timing stuff. Because you can get lonely. You can. Loneliness, because of your past, can make you get up to mischief with yourself.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Silly mischief. Still just silly stuff.
So you got a good community connection still with the homeless, or?
Oh yeah, I still go on the street. I know hundreds.
Yeah.
I don't see how I got involved with the home. I never I was always I just tried to be a brother. There was some that I had big little arguments and that with, but I'd say majority 90% of people on the streets I never really had hassles because I just it's just a bit of compassion. You just gotta you're in that boat, they're in that boat. You don't have to say much conversation. It's just a look, and some of them know, or they need something. You just walk and say, "Hey, mate," then you just walk off.
Yeah.
Where you see someone in a real rut on the street, and you just, as you walk past, sometimes I just say, "Hey, man, I know, it's okay. Keep your chin up. It's going to be all right. Keep going." And a lot of them appreciate that. So I suppose, and there's still a lot of them around now. I know. We don't talk much. They just see me and give me a nod, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that may be somewhat of a gift from your upbringing, is that you're really good at connecting with people. Like I've seen you connect with anybody. You can talk to a wall and it will answer you back.
Am I really like that? No, you talk
mean.
to the wall sometimes. The walls talk to me, mate. That's right.
But yeah, no.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I see that you got that connection, and like you're just saying, where you can tell that by their vibe, and you know how to deliver help when maybe they don't know how to ask for help and everything like that. So you can read them and deliver. In a way, if you know what I mean.
And there's always times too. There was some that you had to, over the years, like, but then they sort of like turned on you.
Yeah.
So you've had to sort of not because it's drugs. And a lot of them start to get into all this heavy drugs and shit. So and then they'd want money off you, like you used to give, and then they want more and more and more. Sometimes you've got to say no.
Yeah.
Where you just go in the supermarket and buy something, and then you just put it on their lap and walk away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they still splat but you just do it and just walk away,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I better want to jump on me, claw my eyes out for $10, 10 cents.
Yeah. Really.
But a few times they must admit, because I'm getting older, a few times I've had to,
Yeah.
Pull them up. Yeah, pull them up. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I've had to pull them up a bit and say, go away, yeah.
So what do you think the hardest thing about living on the streets was? So were you actually in Melbourne?
Oh, mainly Melbourne.
CBD sort of
area? But the last 10 years, mainly Melbourne. I did a lot of backpacking and that in the 80s. I travelled, backpacks and that on my back, across the Nullarbor and stuff, but mainly in Melbourne. The last 10 years, I've done a bit of Queensland and all of that. Right. The Gold Coast, Queensland, Tasmania, just to adventure around and stuff.
What's the difference with homelessness in the?
Oh, it's everywhere. It's the same, mate.
Same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, right.
I notice in Queensland they're very generous.
Yeah.
They are very what I liked about Queensland is, I mean, humans are the same everywhere you go, but I noticed they're more friendlier.
Yeah.
Even the street people, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Just different. Maybe it's the weather. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the weather.
Yeah.
It's warmer, whatever. But they're more. I noticed it very inviting.
Okay.
And they've got a lot of good services up there.
Yeah.
But Melbourne is very good too. Melbourne is very multicultural.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So Queensland's a lot more
Yeah.
Anglo-Saxon, Australian. I felt,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a bit different.
Mm.
But they're a bit laid back. Yeah, pretty laid back.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
But you want to know what the hardest thing was, living on the streets?
Yeah.
Not knowing if you're ever going to have a home.
Yeah.
Not knowing. Like, cancers would want you to go and deal with stuff. You'd be living in a tent, you'd be, doing this. I always looked good. I always showered, got out of my tent, or wherever I was. I might have looked horrible for a day or so. Mucked around in the mud, whatever, in the bush. Done some silly things. But I'd go and shower and I'd put on nice clean clothes. I was always like that. The one thing about the orphanage, they taught us how to be clean. With stuff and
Presentable.
Yeah, presentable.
Yeah.
And I'd always do my hair and make sure I get a good shower.
Yeah.
It's got to use your brain, get around.
Mm.
But I think the hardest thing was when I used to go get counselling, and they'd want you to start dealing with stuff, fair enough, and you would. But then as soon as you leave that place, you'd be straight back out on the street.
Yeah.
You're back out amongst it.
Mm.
I think with Australia and what's going on, is people really need, like, there's a lot of broken people out there. They've got the format wrong. They got it wrong, And I think, but you've got to want, you've got to want to change. Not for them, for anyone else, for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight. It's a road to recovery, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. But I think when you've got a place to stay, you can start thinking about what's going on in your life.
Okay.
You might still blow things and you're going through stuff and dealing with stuff. But if you've got some secure place, I'm not talking about, because a lot of places they put them in, you've got all these dysfunctional people around one another. So as soon as they walk out their door, they're just back in it. You know what I mean? I'm lucky, like, a secure place where you feel safe, and then you can start dealing with things. You might go out and muck up, but you can go back knowing you're safe, and you can have time to start thinking about things. And I reckon a decent, not a textbook counsellor, I think people that have been through it, that have been through hard knocks in life, are the best ones that you got.
100% agree.
Because you're talking to them with free flowing.
Yeah.
Now, my psychologist comes from Argentina, and she saw a heck of a life, with the Colombian Wars, the drug lords and that over there, murders over there.
Yeah.
She just happened to meet an Aussie backpacker over there 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And got out of the joint. But she saw, what Argentina's like in parts of Argentina, man. It's pretty heavy shit. So I've got her, and when she listens, she understands. But I've been going and seeing her for quite a while, so she's sort of more like a friend.
Yeah.
That's
what you need, man.
That's what you need. Because I think, no disrespect to some of these ones that go to uni and just learn from a book. I'm not disrespectful about that. That's
Yeah.
sometimes they just don't suit certain ones. They might suit yuppies, but they might suit people that are from Richie families or something like that. Different. Because there's all different things of hurt.
I've always thought that, and I've always said that. I've spoken to counsellors myself and anger management and done everything,
Yeah.
And what I've noticed over my lifetime, I'm only 36, but no one that has been able to read from a book, textbook, learn from a textbook, has never been able to provide the keys to get the process going. But
and they seem to, sometimes they'll get afraid. You'll say stuff about them that's really in life.
Yeah.
And you can see it on their face that
they don't know how to...
They don't know how to interact with it.
Process that.
They don't know how to process it.
For you, in a way. But then I've met people that have actually lived it, and that's where I've got the most help.
Most out of it, yeah.
And it's funny that you bring up the whole, you know, seeing a psychologist, for example, and then feeling good about yourself, and then going back onto the streets, and then you're back in amongst it. What the key is that you're saying is that you need somewhere to stay, somewhere stable,
Yep.
everything like that.
Yeah. Well, I will be honest. I've only been here 12 months. I don't really know the people around here. They do their own stuff. I do my own stuff. They're older. I never get any hassles from them. I'm probably the youngest here, I think.
Yeah.
I was dealing with stuff before I got here, but in 1 year since I've been here, I know this is going to sound difficult, but within myself, I've probably improved another 30% more.
Yeah.
In things in my own life.
Yeah.
Because I've got a stable home. And I know that my neighbours, sometimes it spins me out because I don't know them, but it's better that way sometimes. You know, not to, like, just hello sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean, when you're living around people that are knocking on your door all the time, bang, 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 bang.
Been there, done that.
Bang, you know what I mean? It's just...
you get too friendly and you get problems, yeah, I know.
It's things. So, living here, I'm blessed. I argue, sometimes I say to myself, I hate this place, I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But I'm just in a foul mood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because it's stable housing and it took a long time to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm around older people.
It's a beautiful place you got here, and a nice little spot.
But the Lord got this for me, so.
And that's where I was going. That's what
Some
I was
higher power did.
saying as well, is that I think one of the keys to people in recovery or getting themselves off the street, getting themselves off addictions, helping their mental health and stuff like that, would probably be, provide accommodation, but provide accommodation, 50 kilometres away from where they're at, or something like that. Put them in a different scenario, provide them with all the help that they need, and let them concentrate on themselves and get the help that they need in a completely different location. I think that's hard.
But they got to want to do it too. You got to.
That's right. Yeah.
There's some people who do it and then they run away, and then some people get really disappointed in them, but they've got to understand.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a process for people to want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could help people. People have the.
See, what we need is really. See, there's a lot of the council's got all these laws and they make it so hard for housing. I truly believe, a lot of Christian organisations all got together, all the money they've got, the finances that God blesses, they could open up houses.
Oh yeah.
I'd run it.
Yeah.
I'd be glad to be a staff of it, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'd be the best thing for me.
Yeah.
A job like that. A 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house with dudes come along.
I know.
And there'd be rules, but they won't be, you know what I mean? There'll be freedom rules in Christ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd love to do that sort of stuff,
But
maybe in the
these
future.
Rules and regulations.
With all these rules and regulations and councils and that, now you want to buy some land to do this, they make it so hard.
People like you and I find it hard to get involved in things that will actually benefit people.
Don't want to know what colour toilet paper you basically, you know what I mean? That's saying you use today. They've got that many rules,
Yeah.
And Australia was prophesied to be a great southern land by a lot of prophecies in the 80s and that by prophets and stuff like that. Particular men, I forget their names now. But it is, we're very blessed to live in this country, but the world's heating up and there's got too many rules. They're man-made rules and they're only about control and making money.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom is starting to go.
Yeah, man.
And we got to, I don't know, something's got to happen. That's what makes me, and I grew up here and I've seen that.
Mm.
So we just got to have hope. I mean, hope, sometimes that word blows me out. Sometimes hope can be a dangerous thing to, in another sense. There's sort of hope.
Mm. Yeah.
I suppose love is the answer for it, real love.
Mm.
And sometimes we can't always give that because only he can, the right way.
Mm.
We try. But organisations and that are good. I'm a bit upset because I've got this injury. I can't volunteer much. It used to be good coming there and doing things,
Yeah.
as much the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've had to stay around, hang around here to this hills because I did be tenants.
Yeah.
That's been very frustrating
Yeah.
because that gives something to do, when I come to your group and stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
What else do you want to know, bro?
What about prison?
Oh, no. Gee, they're probably listening out the wars, mate. Yeah, I did prison 3 times. I won't go into details.
Yeah.
I did armed robberies in the 80s, 2 armed robberies. I did Pentridge.
Yeah.
A Division, H Division, A Division, and then I did...
What was that like? What was Pentridge like?
Ooh, rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old jail.
I think everybody knows Pentridge.
It was pretty horrible, pretty horrible place.
Yeah.
Then I did Barwon, maximum security when that first opened.
Yeah.
The last 9 months or 6 months of my sentence. Yeah, and I did that. I was just young and involved with a lot of drugs. Just take a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And I was just young and frightened. But I never deliberately premeditated. I just got involved with a wrong chap and we got carried away about it one night and then it just become reality,
Yeah.
Wasn't like I needed the money. Just did it really for a thrill. But
Yeah.
turned out to be a bloody thrill, all right.
Yeah.
And then I did that. I won't really go into details, folks. I don't really like to talk about it because I was silly. But I've done a few other lagging since. Just over stupid stuff, resisting arrest, stolen cars, things like that. I was caught with some drugs, personal drugs. And then I was accused of maybe being involved with 2 people being murdered, but they found out it wasn't me, and I tried to tell them it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So I spent time in jail for nothing for 6 months. I don't know why they thought it was me, the cuckoo pops.
Yeah.
Just wrong place, the wrong time,
Yeah.
That was very. That was very hurtful because I could have got compensation for that, I was told, but I've never followed that up.
Yeah.
But the law, they're very sneaky the way they did it. They put me in for something else, but they were really after something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to do that.
It kind of
The
makes
law
sense.
they can be very corrupt, the law.
Yeah, it makes sense because nowadays, we've got cameras everywhere. We've got GPS tracking. They can listen to your phone. They can do all this stuff now.
Yeah.
But back then, they barely had any of that.
Yeah, but the cops, they were arseholes, mate.
Yeah.
They were just pardon me, they were just trying to gain points.
Yeah.
And half of them were on drugs and
Yeah.
child bashers. They used to I used to see them bash people up for just horrible things. They were, and they were just absolutely horrible. Until I met a magistrate about 10 years ago, Mr. Hardy, magistrate, an Indigenous magistrate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, got on his side, and I got into a few of his programs, and things started changing. There's a thing called the ARC program,
Okay.
and I got onto that. And
What's the ARC program?
what is it? It's basically they see this pattern in your life where they got a crew of them in the court, and they see a pattern in your life, and they take you on. Hang on, there's something to this guy. He's doing this shit, but we can tell it's not premeditated.
Yeah.
He's doing it out of some emotional reaction.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And what it is you get on it. Oh, it's fantastic. His name's Mr. Hardy. He's actually still doing it. He's at other court at the moment, one over in, I can fit that other suburb, and he does it in the city, anyway. And you get on it, and this when things started changing. That I was doing silly things, and I was still using, taking a lot of pills, a lot of amphetamine and stuff. But I got on these programs, and what they do is he goes there, they have a prosecutor, police, and you might have all these charges. But they think instead of putting this guy in jail, it's like a psychology court. We're going to get to the point of why he keeps doing this. There's more than just... So they get involved where they find out about your past and what's happened to you and your abuse. Even before you know it, and they've got listings of your sexual abuse, because the government knows everything, mate. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
They just put things on backlogs.
Yeah.
And they've got reports from, and they get it all together, and they say this guy is doing these things not because he's a criminal, it's because he's emotionally
He's a victim.
hurt.
He's a victim. Yeah.
And it was like a relief.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 18 months. And it was the best thing I ever did, because I had these shows. And even during the time I did silly things and they just pushed the charge. The prosecutor cop was on your side, was with the judge, and you have a cancel with you. And once every fortnight you go before him, how's it going, what's going on? You know what I mean? And you work on things, the psychological side of
Yeah.
why you got these habits. And that was about 10 years ago, and that's what started me too.
How did you get onto that? Because if that was around when I was younger,
Oh man, it's absolutely
that
brilliant.
would have lifted me out.
He's still
of the
doing
rubbish.
it, yeah. Yeah, it would have. There's a couple of female judges do it too in the city.
Right.
And I say I'm one of the success rate, because I stopped using. I was on pills still, that, but at least I wasn't going to drug dealers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I started dealing with. I remember I turned up there a couple of times blind drunk to the court.
Yeah.
In the end, the coppers got to know you. You know, down in the foyer, and I knew you were Mr. Hardy's court.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I went there a few times drunk because I was frightened. It's just me still, as I was going through some of the process.
Yeah.
I hate government things, but they just, take me, put me on bring an ambulance, but they were really good about it. Take me to hospital for overnight and then let me go.
Wow, man.
Just so I wouldn't hurt myself.
Yeah.
But I got through all that process. And I started dealing with stuff. And his name's Mr. Hardy, and I did his thing, and then he said, I did 18 months of it, and he said, you're free to go where you want to go.
Yeah.
And that's when I started. I still was going through stuff in life, but it sort of made me think that there are some people, because he's a Supreme Court judge too, and he's been doing it like nearly 60 years. He's pretty old. He's in his 70s, but he's a smart man. He looks like the guy on the $100 note, the Aborigine bloke with the beard, spitting image. And their programs are absolutely brilliant.
Wow. Man.
There's another one called the KISS program, but that's not.
I've heard of Kiss.
Yeah, that's not like
No.
it's not like the art program.
Wow.
And fantastic.
That's so good.
Oh,
I've never
yeah.
heard of that.
But they'd only really take if you're fair income, because they know if you're a criminal, like if you're deliberately, because there are
Of
people
course,
that go
yeah.
out there deliberately
Like they can read you like a book.
smash things up and
Yeah.
smash people up. They deliberately do it.
Yeah.
But it just took that one person who was in those courtrooms over all these years, and I was getting a court case done, and then they recommended me for his program. And then it was like, wow, so it was really good. It's called the ARC program.
Wow.
Still runs,
That's so good to know.
and it helped a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah.
And very smart. It's all out of intelligence,
Yeah.
their stuff. It's all out of natural intelligence, how they do it.
It's like a team of people that work on this as a group, or
It's like, it's sort of like, in a way, yeah. They got a team. They got a team. But the thing is realism.
yeah.
It's all about realism
Yeah.
and seeing people set free through the law in a beautiful way.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
So you're not in and out of bloody courtrooms all the time, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I found myself when I was younger just doing the same stuff.
And they need, if they had about 50 or 60 of them going in magistrates' courts,
Yeah, man.
there'd be a lot of people that staying out of jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they give you a chance. At a certain time, there was once when he had to send me in because I did something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't do 3 months. He goes, I got to because I was with
Yeah.
a woman.
Fair enough.
We had a blue.
You can't.
But I got in
do
trouble
everything.
for it. But then she tried it again when I got out, and he goes, no, I'm not having a bar at it. She's a
Oh,
dangerous
okay.
woman.
Yeah.
She tried to get me locked up. If you're like, no, you're not going to
Get
jail.
away from her.
Yeah, stay. Tried to warn me. I wouldn't listen.
We never do.
Then she kept coming, oh, mate, it was, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I did all that. Rubbish, did all that stupidity stuff, lots of drugs, blah, 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 but that's all right. Haven't been in trouble for quite a while.
That's good, man.
I just for something silly a couple of years ago, but it was just crap.
Petty stuff.
Little petty. Got a fine for it.
Yeah. What about work, man? Have you like done any work?
Yeah,
What do you
when
do
I
that?
could work, I was a motorbike detailer in the 80s. I did a lot of metal. When I did work, I liked to work in metal work. I used to do metal work, MIG welding.
Oh, yeah.
I worked with lots of heavy metal, fittering, turnering stuff.
Yeah.
I used to like working in factories, carrying metal from one end to the other, loading up trucks with metal, and a lot of that sort of stuff. I did roof tiling. But I'd always move on. I'd stay at one job a couple of months, get another one,
Yeah.
Can't do that no more.
Yeah. It's hard enough
Once
to find
Mr.
a
Kennett
job.
sold us all out, when he got in, I
Oh.
started selling all the Australian factories.
Oh, Jeff Kennett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moonface, was it Mr. Howard?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, when I started privatising everything,
Yeah. It's all
can't
gone.
do it now.
It's all gone.
All gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Did a lot of that, worked for a yachting company called Pull in Sandringham, making pulleys. I did a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
But I was always, because of my ADD and what other things still, carrying stuff over all those years, I'd
Yeah. It's hard to just
stay in one place.
put,
Yeah.
put all your eggs in the one
It's just a
basket.
miracle me being here a year.
Yeah. That's good, man. Beautiful.
Especially in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Mm.
So what's your nationality? What's your background?
My father's background was Scottish.
Yeah.
My mum was English and Wales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
As far as I know, yeah. I know. Yeah, because came over here and whatever. It's all mixed up. She had a brother and sister, another from Wales and stuff, but she's died now, so she's just starting to find out that stuff. But yeah, my father was from Scotland.
Yeah.
He died at 49. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's young.
He died at 49. Yeah. Died. His alcohol went back down his lungs and.
Oh.
But there was also suspicious circumstances when he was asleep. A woman apparently hit him on the head, and they didn't investigate it though. He convulsed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he died. Yeah, my real father. His name was Fred Dawes.
Okay.
My real name is Dawes. My real father's
Yeah.
Dawes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. And you're obviously religious. You're Christian.
Yeah, I'm not religious.
Yeah.
But I know of God. Well,
Yeah.
I know He's there.
Yeah.
I believe, but I also know. There's believing. I know. Yeah, I'll say I'm a Christian, but within myself, I'll say I'm stupid and I'm not.
Yeah.
Like Paul did. Things I want to do, I just don't do. The things I should be doing, I can't do. That scripture.
Yeah.
So, and it's true, man. Yeah, I am a Christian. Yeah, try to be, man. It's blinking hard.
You can be, man, especially in your situation where you've come from. You still got growth, man. That's all I can see. I can see.
Sometimes I'm like a devil.
Yeah.
I don't know how God puts up with me, but
Really.
He does. Yeah, He does.
You're doing good, man. Doing real good. And what do you think happens when you die?
Well, what I would like,
Yeah.
you're going to laugh if I tell you.
Okay, I probably won't.
This is what I've always, how it speaks in the Bible about gifts and crowns, and certain ones will have gifts and there'll be certain places for different ones.
Yeah.
I know that He's going to make a new world. It's going to be a new earth. Right? It speaks about that, and then He'll be up there shining. Everything will go back into one, like His star, like a light forever. But I've always had this thing that when I go, I don't know if I do get a crown, which I don't deserve, but if I do fulfill my destiny, I'd like my own planet. Now, it's going to sound crazy.
Yeah.
I'd like to have my own planet where His light is, where He's going to be, and then maybe Jerusalem and that, with me and animals, but never age. But I want to have a conscience of what He did for me. I don't want to forget, but I won't be able to get up to mischief because there'd be nothing there to be perfect. Do you understand what I mean? But I never want to forget that He was my guide and what He saved me from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to live on this with animals forever and ever and ever
Yeah.
at a certain age. And maybe a female.
Yeah.
Just one. Just me and that female forever and ever. Not have kids or anything, just the company of it. You know how we would do it on a beautiful world. And just knowing that when I look up, when I was back there, I can't get up to mischief, but the memory's under control. They're all, and I can say, wow, he was my God. Just that forever. And live in, yeah. It sounds weird, doesn't it?
That's beautiful, bro. That is beautiful. I love that.
That's what I've always...
That's unreal. I love that. That's a beautiful vision, man.
And no, you know what I mean? And just animals and birds and waterfalls and have a tree of fruit of life, you know, and eat
beauty
from that.
and peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And understanding. That's so good, man. I love that. That's the
It
best.
sounds weird, doesn't it?
That's the best answer yet I've had from that question. What are you grateful for, Anthony?
What am I grateful for? Being alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sometimes when I'm in my dark times, I don't feel that. But really deep down in my heart, I am grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
Not because of who I am or what I am, to what I can become.
Yeah.
If I can, because today, if I can improve myself tomorrow, and I know I'm so negative, more than positive at times, but if I can prove myself tomorrow better and keep going on and on and on and on and on across that line, that's what I'll be grateful for, mate.
Yeah. Sometimes I've got to catch myself where I need to be more grateful for just little things, you know? Small things, like the people I meet, interactions that I have. You know,
I'm grateful for all of that too.
Clean water, just like even the most simple things you could, and then you start thinking about other things that you're more grateful for and everything. That's where I.
But I'm a very ungrateful person too, man.
Yeah.
I will be honest.
Oh, you got.
I argue with the Lord.
You got every right to.
I just don't know how He puts up with me at times.
Yeah.
I even walk around here saying, "What's putting stupid bloody humans coming in?" You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
but lately He's been dealing with. I curse a lot.
Yeah.
It's from the boys' home.
Yeah.
Very negative. Like even if other people being stupid, I can be very judgmental.
Yeah.
And He's trying to deal with that at the moment. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
You can hear that.
But even my friends I go back and saw at the reunion.
Yeah.
I just love them.
That's right. You had a reunion with.
And the way they talk.
Yeah.
It's like the brothers, what they put into us.
Yeah.
So we just hate everything about life.
Yeah, right.
And about, there's this arrogance of bastards, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
resentment.
Resentment.
Yeah.
And I saw myself.
Yeah.
But I love them.
Yeah.
Because I know why they're like that.
Yeah.
But in their hearts, they do anything for you.
Yeah.
Really deep down, they're great people,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm grateful for you, mate.
I'm grateful for
you. How long have we been talking for?
It's been an hour, 24 minutes so far.
It's dark outside. Yeah, the possums are coming out, mate.
Let's start wrapping it up.
Yeah, no worries, yeah. But truly, people, if anyone out there watches this, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, because later on, after my friend leaves, if Jason leaves, I'll probably be shaken, or I'll cry. To be a Christian, it doesn't mean you're perfect. We strive to understand perfection, but we never will be perfect until that day. Like when Jesus said, who the Son sets free will be free indeed. We're free now, but when He comes back, then we'll be free indeed. That's what He's saying. So don't get me wrong, I've been through all of this stuff. I still struggle, I still make mistakes. I shouldn't say this word, but to myself, sometimes I can be one of the worstest people to be around, like attitude-wise. I don't like myself for that, but I'm dealing with that, so I'm not perfect. And if anyone's listening out there, you just got to keep going, man. You just got to keep going, and trying to get around positive people. I even struggle with that. even in the groups. I think everyone's judging me when I go to church on the Sundays. It's just stuff from my past, but I'll keep going and I'll keep trying. So whatever you're going through, it's like that saying in the Bible. I think it's in, is it Ephesians? I think it's Ephesians. You know, when you stumble and fall, it's like an athlete you're running.
Mm.
And then if like an athlete keeps running until they win the prize.
Mm.
And then there's another script where it says, and if you stumble and fall, just keep getting up and running. You know, it's like that. Just keep doing that. You stumble and fall millions. Like Jesus said, his brother said to him, remember that guy, he goes, how many times his brother was doing this to him, really bad thing. He goes, Jesus, how many times should I forgive my brother? 70 times 70 a day.
That's right.
Now that's a lot.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone's going to do that to you 70 times. You know what I mean? It's like that. So we've just got to learn to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and just keep getting up and running. So, and I'm not perfect, man. But I hope you take this after it, and whoever watches and listens to it, I'm very sincere. And what I've told you tonight is no word of lie. If I went on and really told you every detail, I would be here for about 5 years.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm thankful to be here, and I'm thankful for my friend, and so just take that into your hearts.
That's beautiful, man. That's I think you wrapped it up there.
That's cool. No worries.
Thanks again, Anthony. I really appreciate your time, and
if another time you want another extension of the story, not a problem.
I would love to. I would love to, and I'm sure people would love to hear some more of your story because it really hits the heart, man. And for the person you are today and the person you're becoming,
I'm only joking.
You're a good man, bro.
Yeah,
you're a good man, and I love your work. Thanks again for sharing your story, and
you're welcome.
I'll see you again soon, bro.
No worries. Thanks very much. Hey, God bless everyone.
Thank you, bro.
Take care.
Legend.
Cheers.